Tile friends, now is not the time to slash your prices. I know many people are talking about a recession, and at the time of recording this, the end of March, we are experiencing chaos. We are experiencing something that none of us have ever experienced. Our parents and grandparents have never experienced something quite like this. Similar things, yes. And I know it's not an easy period of time. But remember, you can take advantage of any time off that you might be having. Fortify your business. Ask yourself what you can be implementing, what you can be learning right now to help you, because work will pick back up again. If you're out of work, think about all the work that's going to be happening as soon as people start hiring again and the stock markets go back up. We will be flooded with business that was all put on hold. We will be flooded with phone calls. And if you're not prepared and you're not putting things into place right now, you might get caught off guard. And if you're slashing your prices to stay busy, they will remain slashed and you will find yourself hurting for a long time. Tile friends, look to each other for comfort and encouragement. I want you to succeed. I want you to be profitable. I want you to build a sustainable business. So take any time that you might have off and do just that. Read, network. Think long and hard about what you want your business to look like in the coming years. Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money. This is the podcast where we discuss the business of being a tile contractor. My name is Luke Miller, and I am on a mission to help tile contractors everywhere. I want to see you grow profitable, sustainable businesses. I want to help the tile industry from the ground up and bring respect back to this trade. Thank you for letting me know that this podcast is helping you. I truly appreciate it. Today's episode is sponsored by the NTCA, the National Tile Contractors Association. They are the largest and oldest group of tile contractors. They contain the highest percentage of profitable tile contractors, business owners. And these business owners, these contractors inside the NTCA, I love how happy they are to help each other out. If you join them today and you go network with them at the next event or give them a phone call and say, hey, brother, listen, I'm in a situation. Here's what's going on with my business. Can you help me out? I guarantee you one of two things is going to happen. They're going to offer you advice right there on the spot that you can implement. They're going to reflect back on their careers and tell you about a similar situation. Or the second option is they'll tell you, you know what, I'm not the right fit, but here, call this guy and tell him I sent you. Here, let me make an online connection because I want to help you out. The NTCA offers a lot of benefits. They have online training programs, both for you, the business owner, as well as your apprentices. You can put your apprentices through this training, helps expedite their knowledge. They also offer insurance solutions, many more benefits. There's really too many to list. But check them out if you haven't already. Get a hold of Jim Olson. Let him know I sent you. All right, today we've got an episode on employees. The month of March here, we've been focusing on employees. I've talked to Dan Welch in the last 3 episodes. He has 60 employees. If you haven't listened to those episodes, go back and check them out. Dan gave us a lot of great, useful tips, a lot of great insights into the subject of retaining, attracting, and training employees, company culture, etc. Dan's doing a great job over there. But to switch things up today, I thought we would talk to someone who has a much smaller business. This is Robert Davis's actually second time being on the Tile Money podcast. He's got a great reputation, a great business out of Oregon. And even though he stays fairly small, a few employees, he has been able to utilize temporary help he found within the Facebook groups, the communities online. And he's been able to take on much larger projects, and it went well in a short amount of time. So that's what this conversation is all about. And if any of you are in a similar situation, I know you're going to find this beneficial. And I know that this will be Good for you. Robert, like many of you, has a great reputation and stays small. But from time to time, we get asked to take on a large job. Now, we have a choice to make. And in the beginning, Robert said his first choice was to turn it down because it just wasn't possible. He didn't want to tie him and his employee up for a year on a project. And the GC or whatever probably wouldn't like that either. In most cases, they want to get it done, right? So we discussed how he was able to rise to that occasion and was able to assemble a very skilled team of temporary help in a short amount of time and pulled off a job which seemed impossible at first. So I know you're going to enjoy this discussion with Robert.
Yeah, it's been for a good portion of the time that I've been independent as a contractor. It's been myself alone as a sub for local shops, or myself with another employee, which was a young man named Eric Hendricks, who is now with the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service. He's doing his thing in Monterey, becoming a linguist. So he's moved on to something with probably better health benefits. And
rough location, though.
Yeah, right. He's suffering. It sounds terrible to be in Monterey this time of year, but. Yeah, and so it's just been me and another guy right now. Ben Bowling is a CTI. He's a journeyman from Portland who, thanks to God, he managed to marry this wonderful woman in Philomath, and then they had to decide where they were going to live as a couple. So Philomath and Portland, if you're familiar with the area at all, it's kind of a no-brainer. Do you want to live in the concrete jungle, or do you want to live out in the country and have a slower-paced life? And so when he moved down here, Sean Parker, who at the time was with Hawthorne Tile, of course now he's with Schluter, but at the time he called and said, hey, one of our good guys is moving down there and would like to have some work. So very competent installer, just kind of accidentally fell in my lap. Actually, Ben can tile circles around me. He's fast and clean, and he's an experienced leader. So he's a very valuable addition to the team here. But yeah, it's just been me and Eric, or me and Ben, with a green apprentice, maybe from like the day laborer kind of department. But yeah, as needed.
Recently, as we've been talking, you had a bunch of work thrown at you, and you had to make a tough decision because you didn't want to take it if you couldn't fulfill that commitment. But thanks to social media, what happened?
Yeah, well, it would be super embarrassing to say, yeah, we can do that. This is kind of how life as a contractor has evolved for me, because I'm not afraid of a challenge generally. And, opportunities have arisen for things that I've not been 100% qualified for. Right. And I've been the guy saying, yeah, we'll figure it out. Yes, we'll do it. We'll build the thing that you have this drawing for, or whatever. We'll draw the thing if that's what you need, and I've kind of learned a lot of things on the fly, but this was an opportunity that there was no way that I could fake my way through. It required just multiple experienced hands, qualified labor, not just a go-getter attitude, but like actual multiple people that could do the work without a ton of supervision. And so I had to decide whether I was going to fold and say, no, I can't meet that need for you because I just don't have the guys, or, I'll find the guys, So social media made it possible to find the guys, because I found that when I looked around the world, that I knew in social media, I found that I already knew the guys. The guys were already there, and we were already pals.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So it just took some planning and some invites. And I remember, in my group, Tile Money, you were talking about how it all went down. I mean, you basically approached the contractor and said, look, here's what I'm going to have to do to meet this deadline. And it's kind of unrealistic. I mean, I have to fly labor, and I have to fly people, and I have to put them up. And they said, let's do it.
It was really daunting, man, because I kind of felt like so originally they had me bid this project, and it's like 100 man days worth of labor. So for me and Ben, or me and Jeremy, or me and Eric, whatever, you're looking at a super duper long time, right? 10 weeks minimum of two guys, working maybe long days sometimes. And so then I raise these objections to myself saying, we can't commit to that. So then it seemed like I was walking into the office that day with like this get out of jail free card, like, wow, this looks great, but we just can't pull it off because X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, well, how much does it cost? Just do it. And it was like, it was put up or shut up. They were saying, great, what does it cost? Do it. And I had been saying I could do it, but we can't do that. And they're saying, well, why not? We'll just pay for it. And when you've removed that obstacle, it was extremely daunting. I lost a lot of sleep over it.
I bet.
In the days leading up to the project beginning. So I did a lot of planning. I don't really have a record of how many hours I spent planning the project and everything before it actually started happening in real time. But whatever the profit ends up being on it, I definitely earned it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, they made it very difficult to say no.
Yeah. So you flew some great talent in. Who'd you fly in?
Matt Taylor from Fresno, California came here, and Adam Kofer from San Luis Obispo. He's just right next door to you there.
Adam. Yeah.
Yep. Adam's a good guy. And James Richgoose from Chicago. He had come out here the summer before, and actually the last time, he came, he stayed in a little travel trailer that's up there right where my work van is right now. And he just posted up and ate dinner with the family, and we had a really good time. Cool. We enjoyed having him here. Then during that time, also Jake Harville from the Vancouver area was down here. And of course, Ben Bowling, who's on my crew, was at another job anchoring out what he calls, it's a good word for it, he calls it anchoring, finishing up all the details. And so he buttoned that job up and spent several days over here with us. Brian Stevens came over from Bend.
Okay.
And I probably owe him some money because he just came over and hung out for a day and screwed around, but he really busted his butt, and he did a lot of work that day. So
yeah, he said he was excited just to be here. It was exciting for him.
Having Brian Stevens around is a positive experience. He's a very genuine person. He's very what's the word? He's very generous with himself.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. He said he really had to work to get to that point, but you would never know it, just talking to him and hanging out. I thought he was just naturally, the best person ever, but he said he really had to work to that point. So it just shows what some hard work.
Well, he doesn't even think that he's the best person ever, which is an amazing thing. Everybody else can see it, but
yeah.
So yeah, that kind of humility is really what it takes to get this kind of work done. Nobody wants to follow someone around that's just this bossy, idiot, arrogant, and all that. I can see that all these guys would come and to a job that Brian was leading, definitely. And I would follow him. I would do what he asked,
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, leadership is such an important topic. Speaking of that topic, you're flying in really experienced installers from around the country. And what were the challenges there? How did you lead a crew like that?
Well,
these are contractors. These are guys who generally work for themselves, it sounds like.
They do, and they're pretty self-contained, and they're competent, and so so I've got two real clear life experiences with management, and one is working with Eric, who was an apprentice, basically. He was about a third-year apprentice at the time that he decided that he wanted to go a different direction with his life and moved on. So that's one kind of leadership. And then the other is Ben, who is the dude could tile circles around me. He's a very accomplished installer. I've had to set him to some very detailed installs, design, build things, and just been like, man, I'm sorry. I know that we're a crew, but right now you got to work there and I got to work here, and it's just 3 weeks of working alone. And that you don't have to worry about Ben.
Yeah.
Because he can just do all of that. He can lead people. He can interface with homeowner. He can interface with general contractor. He can interface with design. And these are all, so managing that sort of person is an entirely different thing. And so here I know these guys that are coming.
Yeah.
James had come the summer before, and so I had a pretty good idea of what to expect from him personality-wise, but just to have, 2, 3, 4 other guys coming and just being like, I have no idea what these people are experienced in as far as a leadership role.
Yeah.
And what are they going to expect from me? And so the first day, I'm sure it was, top 10 most stressful days for all of us involved. There's me, there's Matt, and James, and Adam, and there's the ramrod there at this modular builder, my friend Curtis. And no one knows what to expect from all these unknown quantities around them. And it's just like, it's go time, do or die. And so everybody's looking at me like, what do we do? And I just, it was tough at first because I had built these jobs in my head with the idea of how long would it take me to do things. That's how I build schedules generally. I look at it and I say, okay, how long would it take me alone to do this? So we've got an apprentice. They cost half as much to me as me to have on the job site. So if he performs that function, then he pencils out. I'm still just looking at the job as if it's just me.
Right.
If there's another installer, I got to assume they're at least as fast as me, and I'm not like a super fast tile installer. I'm good, I'm accurate, I'm careful, but there are lots of guys faster than me. So as long as I figure the guy that I'm leading is as fast as me, then that all pencils out as well. So when it comes down to building schedules for these jobs, I was just looking at how many man days will it take me alone to do this monstrous thing. And so you come up with 100 man days or whatever. So I was like, great. Well, we have that in spades. We're going to have all these guys here. We have 100 man days worth of labor available to us. So that means the job will get done. Great. Woohoo. We'll just build the thing and we'll show up and everybody's happy and just build the thing. Right. And then all of a sudden these guys are looking at me like, what's our goal for the day? And I must have looked like a deer about to get hit by a truck. Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, I hadn't really looked at it from that perspective at all. I mean, but look, if we, I could do this by myself in 10 weeks, which means the 5 of us should be able to do it in 2 weeks and everything will be fine. And so, there were some come to Jesus moments.
Yeah. Cause it's not as easy as that in reality. I mean, you get those guys, 5 guys together and, you have personalities and you have, just logistics of it all. People walk, kind of stumbling over each other almost in a smaller space. And
totally. There's the potential for this particular builder. We've had some experiences in the past where they had some conflicting issues where like their finish carpenter, who is part of their local crew, they have framing and finish on site and the rest they sub out: tile, drywall, paint, whatever, siding, all that kind of stuff. So their in-house cabinet guys would be like, excuse me, we got to be in that room. And that means all of a sudden you got to push yourself off to another thing and start over that day. And so we had that talk with them before where that can't be an issue. We have to own this facility for the entirety of the time that all this contract labor is here. Otherwise, it's just entirely too expensive to be trying to make this up as we go. And that worked out really well.
Oh, that's great.
They said that they could perform at that level and make sure that all of the design stuff was taken care of. Yeah. And they did it. And we didn't have any problems with them at all the whole time.
That's cool.
Actually, they were very generous with other people's time and saying, here we've got, they hire the local high school kids from the robotics team or whatever, to come and do the cleanup on the job site. And so, they told us, you don't even need to clean up the job site after yourselves. You just have to come and, just drop the cardboard where it lays and all that kind of stuff. And so it was really weird because now all of a sudden I'm also managing like an extension of someone else's business, right? And saying, here, tell the high school kids they can take all this stuff, anything that's laying on the ground after we leave. Wow. So there was lots of opportunities for mischief with the whole thing.
All right, tile friends, I'm going to jump in here in the last few minutes. We've got some more discussion with Robert to wind it up, but I'm going to jump in here with some tile news real quick, and then we'll get back to that discussion. I know you're enjoying that. So this Tile News is sponsored by Crossville, and I wanted to let you know of something that is super cool coming up here real soon. If you're listening to this in the beginning of April or whatever, the end of March, April 20th is a date to remember for 2020. It's the first of its kind. It's a virtual tile summit. This is something I'm putting on. I'm putting it together. It's going to be an experience similar to a real live event like coverings or surfaces, but it's going to be all online. You can watch it from the comfort of your home. We're going to have a lot of great manufacturers presenting their latest innovations and solutions to the tile industry. We're also going to have networking rooms, video conference rooms where you can visit and stay in contact with tile contractors from around the world. Ask them how they're handling their business. We'll have live panel discussions where the audiences can participate with comments and questions, and you can get your questions answered in real time. Look forward to watching and learning from business breakout sessions. And these videos will be all released in a few days. And then if you can't make the sessions in real time, you can always watch them later. They will live on the internet forever. So to learn more about this and to register and to be aware of when this is happening and when which company is starting their videos and so forth, visit virtualtilesummit.com. We're going to have a lot of great, cool stuff going on, some great raffles and some fun stuff. We're going to make this fun and educational. All right, so back to the discussion with Robert. Right on, Robert. So after the storm here is over, how'd it go? And what lessons have you learned?
Well, it went really well as far as just pure logistics. We got the amount of work done and the time of, that was allotted for the work to get done. So that went really well. There's some planning stuff that could make it smoother. Mm-hmm. Really, more than anything, we want it to be less stressful for everyone involved. We want the builder to not be concerned about our capacity to do the work. We want the guys that are coming to do the work to have more of a clear idea of what is expected of them. Yeah. And that's probably about communication ahead of times and everything like that. A lot of it, it's something that the builder came to us and said, hey, can we do this again? And at the same time, the guys were coming to me saying, hey, man, if you want to do this again, we can do that. It would be something that we'd be interested in pursuing in the future. So all positive outcomes, but really also learning experiences and just saying, okay, what did not go well? What particular things made it stressful, for someone? Or, I had planned to have the guys have a vehicle available to them while they were here. And I sent this truck that I used to set tile out of to the mechanic. And then when it came back, of course, Trevor Simcoe, who we haven't talked about before, but he's on his way here right now from Georgia. He just left this morning. I had a little Toyota truck that was my wife's, and now it was my tile truck for a while, and it's just been sitting under the barn. Well, it had been under the barn so long, we sent it to the mechanic and then got it back with a theoretical clean bill of health. And then, turns out it's got a bad alternator, whatever. And so the guys were jump starting it and having all kinds of vehicle shenanigans along with it. So stuff like that, it's really just logistics driven stuff that we have to do better in the future to make it worth guys' while to come here. Okay. I don't want them to come here and feel like it's going to be this stressful thing. Yeah.
So it sounds like something you might try again in the future?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen again, probably before the end of the year. I think around Thanksgiving, we're going to do another big project, and we'll probably have the same cast out here. And
you think this is a foreshadowing of things to come, of what your company might look like in a few years?
It might be like a business model niche that we had not really planned for. Okay. I'm really kind of just in reaction mode to everything at this point. I'm just super happy that I'm not in the hole on the calendar or financially or any of that. It's like, wow, everything worked, So I'm trying to not approach the future with like the super optimistic, everything's going to be roses thing, and look at it like, okay, we've done this once, but what could go wrong next time that we didn't encounter this time? Just because it didn't go wrong this time doesn't mean it can't go wrong the next time. Yeah. So
Well, this is great, Robert. Thanks for sharing this story. What's so exciting is the fact that social media makes this kind of stuff possible. I mean, how many of us have had to turn down work, or even for guys like Trevor, who's moving coast to coast. What a great opportunity for him. What a great opportunity for you. So, really, guys, if you're listening to this, get involved with the social media, Tile Geeks, GTP, Tile Money on Facebook, and get to know each other because you're really building relationships.
It's a really small world, man.
Yeah.
And we got to stick together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, Robert, thanks so much for your time. I look forward to continuing to talk to you and seeing you in Las Vegas.
It's good having you here, man.
Thank you.
Our kids are having a great time.
Yeah, they're loving it.
Yeah,
perfect age for each other.
Right on, man.
All right, Tile friends, stay profitable out there. All right, Tile friends. So that discussion with Robert was super insightful. I really appreciated him sharing that. I know it's going to benefit a lot of people. Because, the truth of the matter is a lot of you are smaller companies, just like Robert, 5 employees or less, and you might at times be tempted to take on large projects. And so now Robert's laid out a clear way this could happen, and you might, want to imitate that from time to time. And I really appreciated how what Robert was able to accomplish. I know it wasn't easy, but now that he's proven the concept, we know it can be done. So. All right, so now we've got another great Tile Money tip with Ron Nash, and this is taken from the business incubator we had last September in Minneapolis. And right here, Ron is going to be talking about some counter tactics, or a counter tactic that you can use to negotiate your stated price when people attempt to lower your price. Everybody, it seems like, wants to negotiate, and there's nothing wrong with negotiations. There's some things, though, that you can implement that will help you to stay as close to the price that you need it to be and not drop it below your bottom dollar price, so to speak. So let's listen in here as Ron talks about policies and procedures.
Policy and procedure. How many people here are sole proprietor of their business and they can make any decision you want? Okay. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels so good. Powerful beasts. In here, captains of industry. You can do whatever you want. Maybe a tactical error. Here's the reason. If your company has policy and procedures, and they may be as simple as, hey, you know what? I don't build showers out of these materials by policy in our company. You see what I'm saying? By policy in our company is a very powerful statement, even if you're a sole proprietor. Because by policy of our company, it's very difficult to get mad at you. It's a policy. Freaking policies. I don't know their policies. It's the boss. It's the boss. The boss wants this. I don't know. I used to blame my wife. Look, if I don't get paid, like seriously, the boss, appealing to a higher authority is what it's called. And I will tell you that policies and procedures, rules, regulations, and procedures from day one in your business, from the first day you open, you should be considering what are your hard policies and procedures. Even if you're a sole proprietor, you have no employees, one day if you decide to get an employee, what are your rules, policies, and procedures going to be? You need to, and this is the hard part, you need to have them organized, you need to have them trainable to new staff, and you need to hold a bright line standard in your business. If you create a foundation wall, you can build the rest of the building on top of it. If you do not, you are building your business on sand. And I have seen owners, because they wanted to swing the power around, make such terrible business decisions because I'm a sole proprietor and I can do whatever I want. Okay, you can. That's great. You have the right to lose as much money as you like. Okay? But at the same time, policy and procedure inside your business is a safe harbor. It will help you. You need to consider this. Okay? Limited authority. I'm going to tell you how Laticrete works. Here's a little inside track here. By the way, it's great group. Here's a little inside track on Laticrete. If you're hired as a sales rep at Laticrete, you don't have the ability to change prices. You don't have the authority to change prices. We run a limited authority system. We do it on purpose. Huh?
Please remember that.
Brian, I forget you're here. We run a limited authority. We run a limited authority system, and here's the reason why. Will we change prices, Brian?
No.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. There's a system. But sales reps are designed to gather information, and in order to get a program adjustment authorization, or PAA, or a project pre-order, which are our two vehicles for changing prices, in order to do that, the region manager has to approve the deal. Why? Why?
Oversight.
Okay, I like that. What else?
It's a tactic.
Say again?
It's a tactic that limits liability.
Limits liability, limits hemorrhaging of profit,
Consistency.
of behavior, market pricing, consistent of market pricing. By the way, how difficult is pricing? It's incredibly difficult. It's like you could have a PhD in pricing, by the way. Matter of fact, we actually do have people, you can literally have a PhD in pricing. Now imagine running a $500 million business, and you've got 200 people out there, and they're just like, hey man, I got a really big job. Your thin set's really expensive. No problem, whatever. What do you want to pay for it? Okay? After a while, we'll go out of business. Because I have enough scale that these decisions, poor decisions times 200 reps, it can be very bad. So what do? We have people in our organization, region managers, who are designed to manage the business and also decide for Laticrete what is a good deal, what is a bad deal, what are we willing to invest in, what are we not willing to invest in. All right, someone, a third party, not the person that's designed to service you, to see to it that you can mix the material, to see to it that anything that happens on the job site, they're Johnny on the spot that can fix your issues. Not that guy. Because if you're trying to whittle that guy, then the relationship becomes impure. Now, if we've built a relationship based on trust, which is what I train my people to do, and you have a large project, and you're like, hey, I really want to go at this project. If you win the project, we win the project. Absolutely, we want to win that project together. Are we willing to sharpen our pencil with you to make that happen? Absolutely we are. We have a vehicle to do that. And that vehicle is a limited authority system, and it works great. It works really good. I can change your prices in a matter of an hour. Okay? But I'm going to ask you all these other questions. You're actually getting some of the inside scoop on how this works.
All right. I love this policy tactic. This is a great tactic. Now, listen, I understand you're probably working by yourself. You own your business, and you don't necessarily need to ask anybody's permission. I understand you're in charge, right? You make up the rules and procedures on the fly. But the thing is, that might be a mistake, as Ron was saying. When someone starts to negotiate with you, you can call to a higher authority and say, look, my company procedures dictate that I cannot adjust my prices more than X percent, 2 or 3%, 5%. What you're doing here is you're limiting your own authority. And at the very least, it buys you some time to come back and negotiate for your benefit. Otherwise, you might be taken off guard, and you might have to come down a lot more than you would like to if you're taken off guard. So limit your own authority. And I really appreciated and loved how Ron's pulling back the curtains on some of his own policies and procedures about this. If you didn't pick up on that, I urge you to go back and re-listen to that tile money tip again. This proves the power of not just knowing your reps, but also nurturing your relationship with your reps. You need to gain their trust and confidence in you as a human being. Find some common ground, whether to just talk about life in general. This open communication with your reps, that's going to be key, because before you ever approach them and ask them for a discount, say you're working up and you want to really deliver a competitive bid, and part of that bid is getting some of your materials lower, you can do that. And Ron even said it can be done. It just takes a lot of communication, a little trust, and you will be able to possibly pull that off. Ron said he can give authority to lower prices, but it all starts with that communication and trust. All right, friends, I truly hope you enjoyed that Tile Money tip in today's episode. I hope I've given you something to think about, one thing or two things to apply in your business. In next week's episode, we're going to be talking about marketing. I had a great conversation with Ken Balin, and he has a great business out of New Jersey. He knows a great deal about marketing and has done a great job marketing his business online, as well as with some older school techniques. So look forward to that conversation. I know you're going to enjoy that one. Go visit virtualtilesummit.com. The link will be in the show notes. Register to attend this incredible event, the first of its kind. There will be great chances to not only get some education discussions in, but also win some prizes and have some fun. So, all right, I'm looking forward to seeing you there at the Virtual Tile Summit. Until we talk next week, friends, stay profitable out there.